Good afternoon. My name is Oliver Judd and I'm the Executive Director of NECA New South Wales and ACT. I'll be the facilitator of today's presentation. You can ask questions by raising your hand by clicking on the icon shaped like a hand, in which case I can unmute your microphone and you can ask questions live, or alternatively you can type your questions in the questions section and we will respond to them at the appropriate time. This webinar will be recorded and will be made available on NECA's YouTube channel for later reference. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for taking part in today's presentation, and I'll now hand you over to Alan Lyon.
Good afternoon, and thank you to NECA for the opportunity to be able to talk to the members. The whole idea of our relationship that InterRisk has got with NECA is to provide service and broad covers to the NECA members. And I thought we'd start off by giving a bit of brief history. NECA and ourselves has a relationship going back to the year 2000 when I was part of Brookvale Insurance Brokers. My portfolio in 2010 merged with InterRisk, and the relationship has continued to build. Through NECA's endorsed support, InterRisk now handles the insurances for over 1,100 NECA members in New South Wales, ACT, Queensland and Victoria, and continues to grow with your support. Throughout this 13-year period, the premium increases have been kept to a minimum to ensure those insured are getting the best value for money without wild fluctuations from year to year. By NECA members participating in this facility, they receive the benefit of exclusive wordings not available anywhere else in the Australian market. Members get access to competitive premiums at InterRisk, and the InterRisk staff who are experienced in the needs and requirements of providing members with a prompt and efficient service, which also encompasses the expertise of our claims staff. InterRisk were successful in being awarded the prestigious 2012 Medium Broker of the Year award. The premium factor, the thing that governs all our businesses these days, is costs. Over the course of the last few years, Australia has witnessed to a long-term environment of low-cost insurance. 2013 has seen a soft reversal of this position as insurance shareholders want returns. Otherwise, they'll invest elsewhere. Australia currently represents less than 1% of the global reinsurance market, yet it is contributing more than that as a percentage of claims worldwide. In tandem with pricing increases, we are now seeing underwriters becoming more stringent with their application of coverage restrictions or lower levels of protection being offered for any business exposed to the type of claims that are being made the most. And what I've shown you on there now is just a brief summary of the environmental claims that have occurred since 2011 around Australia. You hear about them on the press at the appropriate time, but you don't get to hear the end result of the costs and the run-out. And these are figures actually paid out by insurance companies for claims, not actual costs, because as you're aware, a lot of people aren't insured or weren't insured correctly, so the real losses are much higher than this. But as you can see, with $6 billion being paid out in the last 2 years, something had to happen with the reinsurers overseas in Europe, who carry part of the risk for every policy in Australia. All Australian insurers reinsure part of their risk to Europe. What's available? Here at InterRisk, we have a wide range of policies available exclusive to members. All policies offered to you are tailored to the needs of your business, which vary from member to member. Public liability, up to 20 million, and a case-by-case basis, 50 million, as we have been receiving requests for this amount recently. Free advice in regards to indemnity and insurance clauses shown in contracts. This is very important. Before signing a contract, you need to vet those clauses, and if you forward them to our office, we will turn them around in 24 hours and give you an opinion whether your insurance will cover you or not. And that doesn't mean whether you have to be a client of InterRisk. As long as you're a NECA member, we will give you that free opinion. If it gets more involved, we have a legal firm behind us who will vet the matter further for us. But be careful before you commercially put your neck in a noose by signing something you don't fully understand and assume that your insurance may support you. Exclusive master covering professional indemnity, which is all the following aspects are automatically covered: inspections, advice, report writing. I will give you a bit more of a summary of these as we further go through the notes. A master covering on management liability. This is another policy that has a broad range of cover for a small price, exclusively available to proprietary limited companies. Business insurances range from fire, theft, glass, business interruption, cover for tools and testing equipment for replacement costs, contract works for individual projects or on an annual basis for those contractors involved in this area, mobile plant and equipment, motor vehicles, both private and commercial, either individually or as part of a fleet, personal accident and illness cover, including accident journey cover for those to and from work, which is now excluded by work cover. Premium funding, and another offer, a way of assisting you in payment of your premiums. We as brokers receive a 60-day credit facility and pass that on to the members with their insurance payments, or you can pay it over a longer period. Trade credit and trade credit opinion, very important in these current economic times. The covers, the risks ahead. The basic liability package. Full cover is provided per member for an amount you require, either 10 or 20, and as I mentioned, we can do 50 if you're required to carry some for contracts. And the large builders and developers are now insisting on 50 million, even though the project for yourself may not be that large. The policy includes care, custody and control. In other words, if your customer provides you with goods to hold that are going into the project, he's paid for them, but you're minding them till the job's ready and you cause damage to them. The policy limit, the standard limit is $250,000. Most insurers only offer $100,000 cover. Part 2 is the Master Professional Indemnity. How it works. Each member is part of the policy, which has an overall limit of $20 million, where all participating members share, with a limit of any one claim of $5 million. This results in a significant cheaper premium costs. Part 3, for companies, management liability is also available in the master package. It works on a similar vein. There is an overall limit of 20 million for all those participating members, with 5 million sublimited for any one claim. Some sections covered are employment practices, company pecuniary penalties, and company OH&S expenses. This insurance is 100% underwritten through our office by Lloyd's of London. Public and products liability is designed to protect you as a business owner for damage and injury caused to third parties by you or any of your staff. For an example of which is where you are installing a new light fitting in a kitchen. In doing so, you drop a hammer onto your client's granite bench top, which subsequently cracks the bench. Under your public liability policy, the damage caused would be picked up by a claim where you would pay the excess and the rest would be paid by your insurer. Another example is where as a contractor, one of your employees installs a bank of lights in a customer's commercial premises. Some months later, one of the light fittings falls out, injures the client's employee and damages their computer. This is another situation where products liability would come in to protect you. In other words, public liability covers you while you're on the job. Product liability covers your risks after the job is completed if anything causes damage to other people or their property. Whilst we hope these situations do not arise, in reality they do. And in the second example, there's recently been a claim under similar circumstances which resulted in a payout of over $37,500. What happened in broad terms is the client didn't trust the rest of the light fittings, wouldn't accept our client coming back to do remedial work, got in another firm and had it all done, and our client was billed those costs. Our client didn't have any say in it, and that's what's happened. So the issue has come about that very quickly something can evolve. The other thing that's very important that you all understand is someone may decide to try and take an action against you. If you have these covers, you will have the protection of the legal aspect behind the policies, and rather than you have to defend it at your own costs. There are two options available, either a public liability of 10 million or 20, and in the event the 50 million for a specific project, and we can accommodate all these requests. Professional indemnity. The short answer is yes, professional indemnity insurance protects you against suits brought by financial loss due to wrongful advice. Let's be clear about one thing. In your role as a business operator and a contractor, at some point you're going to provide advice. If that advice is wrongful and leads to a financial loss, the chances are, in the fallout, someone is going to point the finger at you and you will be liable for financial loss. This is where PI comes in. What protection will will PI provide? Professional indemnity provides you comprehensive protection of your assets against claims for financial loss, injury or damage arising out of an act, error or omission in the performance of your professional services. So you can carry on your business safe in the knowledge that you are covered. The policy covers claims arising out of the preparation of written electrical, communication, air conditioning designs, specifications, plans and reports. A simple example is if you were called in by a strata management firm to check the emergency lighting in a residential block, checked them all and gave a report that said all the lights are working perfectly, and a week later the building burns down and some people are injured, they will come looking for you, and public liability excludes this because you've provided advice, which is a standard exclusion in all public liability policies. Who should consider a policy? This policy is designed for anyone who gives advice and or services at a skillful level. Accordingly, an established discipline to other people in the business. Traditionally, the cost of this insurance has proved to be prohibitive to many companies. However, the exclusive master policy that we have in place, we're able to offer it at a fraction of the price available in the general market. A master policy, each member participating shares in the limit of $5 million any one claim, with $20 million over the year. It is possible to exhaust this limit. However, in the last 13 years the scheme has been running, there have been claims paid, and this has never happened, reaching anywhere near those limits, nor has a claim reached the limit of any one event. But I can assure you from our own experience, there has been a number of claims coming through for professional indemnity. Next is the management liability component, which is also a master policy. If you're a proprietary limited entity, then you can have professional management liability. If you aren't, then you can at least have the professional indemnity cover mentioned previously. Why it is important? Directors, company managers and executives can be personally liable for a breach of their managerial duties and obligations as an accessory to a contravention by a company or in conjunction with a claim made against the company. Not only the directors and the company manager's assets at risk, any spouse, estate, heir or legal representative may have also been exposed to a claim for management liability, such as a director of a company. The cover is broad, and some of the key areas that you can relate to are directors and officers liability, that's you personally, as well as the company reimbursement, the company liability. All these are legal terms where more than one entity gets dragged into any litigation. So if something goes wrong, there is no doubt about it, they will go the entity, the company, and they will also go the directors and or senior staff. It also covers employment practices liability. In broad terms, it will protect the company if an action is taken against them for wrongful dismissal, sexual harassment and so forth, and it's very far-reaching. And as we know, the legal fraternity these days look for these sort of things to represent a disgruntled employee, hoping they can get some money out of the employer. By having this cover, you're protected in terms of the insurance company representing you in any such action. Fidelity, theft of money from employees. And yes, there's been claims for this area, one as high as $300,000. Pecuniary penalties and then OH&S fines and penalties are also covered by this. Another thing that's a very topical matter today, Work Cover are actively looking for any breaches in OH&S. We've actually had claims paid under this policy for industrial death, where the client believed he'd done nothing wrong but was still personally fined $200,000 and his company was fined $500,000. Pollution-related liabilities. As you know, again, with EPS and all these other government departments today looking for anything, they're all looking to see if they can recover costs or take action to get some money out of employers. Motor vehicles, choosing the right cover. At InterRisk, we aim to strike a fair deal to ensure your individual vehicles and fleets. You need to know that the policy you get has built-in special features we know will provide peace of mind to NECA members. Instead of a wildly fluctuating premiums, we have developed a facility that allows members to pool their buying power with one insurer and receive additional exclusive benefits, along with competitive premium structures. Whether you're looking to insure your entire fleet or a select range of vehicles, even down to just one family car, InterRisk can help you. Exclusive NECA coverage is listed below, and I'll touch these in a second. Most people these days can go online and get a quote from a number of direct marketing insurers. but you have to be very careful with what actual cover is in the policy wording. And as shown in the notes below, we offer agreed value on vehicles up to 5 years of age or market value, a repair of your choice, which is pretty critical if you're in business, to be able to take it to someone you know who can get your vehicle back on the road at the appropriate time. Automatic cover for sign writing, racking, CDs, radios, receivers, building telephones, up to $3,500. Again, if you don't tell a normal insurer, they will not be covered when the vehicle is written off or stolen. No claim forms are required. All accidents and claims are recorded via the phone. Emergency services cost up to $5,000. That's cleaning up any pollution issues or anything else that is as a result of the accident. Higher cost for 2 days following an accident. You can purchase additional days at a lower extra premium to cover a longer period if you so desire. Rekeying and recoding benefits. With all our cars being more electronic these days, we're all up for large costs, and one of the staff in our office just recently got hit with a $700 bill to do a rekeying on a what we thought was a straightforward, fairly economical car. Tools, can I get cover? One of your biggest assets as a tradesperson is your tools and equipment that allow you to carry on your work. One of the common reasons we hear relating to why tradies aren't insuring their tools is the misconception that they're only going to get back a depreciated cost on their tools. Under the policy we offer, this is not the case. Cover is provided for theft from locked vehicles or securely locked sites with other named risks, and cover is for replacement, new for old. So if your vehicle's broken into, your site is broken into, and you lose some second-hand drills, you can go and buy new drills and have the full cost reimbursed to you, subject to your excess. We have 2 models of this cover. One is limited to the vehicles and sites, and another one is a blanket cover anywhere in Australia, and obviously the premium differs accordingly. This particular policy over the last 5 years has been the most common cause of claims in the NECA program. Up to 6 months ago, we were seeing something like 8 to 9 tool claims being lodged by our clients every week for a period of 3 months. You need these tools. Some are specialty tools. Some are readily available and others you have to order. But you don't want to find that you're arguing with an insurer where he says second-hand 3 years on it's worth 20% of what you paid. You want to be able to go and buy a new one and know safely that the insurance is going to pick up the tab for you. Another option we can offer in relation to buildings and contents. If you have your own business premises, we can cover the building, contents, fixtures and fittings along with glass, burglary and money. It's all about flexibility, and we can tailor a package to your specific needs. The policy has been created with unique requirements to members in mind at a very competitive price option. What about flood? The topic we've all heard from the press and newspapers in recent times. With all but a handful of postcodes, flood is included in our package. In most instances, Australian insurers exclude flood from commercial policies as a rule. This is very important because you don't want to find that even with your best endeavours, a freak storm happens and the insurer decides under the definition it's a flood, not storm damage, and there is quite a clear differentiation of those definitions. That's why we've done our best at Inter-Risk to provide as broad protection as we can for the members. If you operate an excavator or any larger items of plant such as forklifts, trenches, etc., both registered and unregistered, we have markets can offer to insure these. The cover can include road risk liability for registered or conditionally registered items. This is where an item is used or taken on the public roads. The reality is you might already have these items and are not currently insured. How would your business cope should you lose an excavator or cause damage to a Lamborghini on a public road with your registered plant or item of plant? Perhaps you only hire plant on an ad hoc basis. We can help you with this also. Traditionally speaking, the cost of an insurance policy on the hire company compared with the benefits you get can be high in comparison to having a hired plant cover with Inter-Risk. When completing a contract with a hire company, you need to be certain about the insurance side of things. The contract will state who's responsible on hire. You may also find that the policy they offer does not cover all eventualities that may arise and could be covered by a contract plant policy. One of the large contracting hire firms has got the fine print where they say that they will insure things if you pay them extra money, but they don't cover theft, which would be one of the major things in relation to the plant and equipment you hire. Next is contract works. You can have an annual policy or a single project, and this policy is the only one that gives you protection at a job site. Members can select two key options. They can quickly arrange a one-off project-specific cover at short notice. Similarly, annual policies will provide automatic inclusion for all jobs, subject to conditions, can be arranged. Some principals insist that a contractor bear the excess under their construction risk policy for the entire project. It is in these situations we have seen in some excesses reach as high as $500,000. That's totally unacceptable for a contractor to bear those costs. So the builder says you're covered by his contract works policy, but you're also subject to his excess. The contractor is better off having his own policy at an excess level that is going to be financially acceptable to the business without jeopardising the company's future. Quite simply, contract works can be broken down as cover available for both residential and commercial builders and are tailored to suit the projects you undertake either as a single project or as an annual project. Contract works insurance covers your contractual liabilities to ensure loss or damage to the works, including the items on site to be included in the works. The goods and materials comprising the works will have to be replaced at your expense if you go uninsured. It's very important to know in the covers that we arrange for contract works, we include such extensions as goods that you may have already purchased to go into a site that is being held by your supplier. If the supplier premises burns down, our policy will pay you for the loss that you've incurred. Also in relation to transiting goods to sites. If the vehicle taking the goods to site is damaged in an accident or catches fire or stolen, that is covered by our contract works cover as well. So it's a very important. The summary, the bottom line is, through the strength of NECA's membership and those who have chosen to take up this scheme, we have been able to position ourselves as a leading provider of insurance options to NECA members at preferential pricing. At the end of the day, along with competitive premiums, you need to know that the company where we have placed your insurance covers is going to provide the service at the right time along with the right product. Here at InterRisk, we can tick all the boxes and we'll welcome you to get an obligation quote, no obligation quote from us at the end of the day, and you may find significant savings. This page shows you the contact details for NECA. We have a dedicated staff in the office doing nothing other than looking after NECA members because of the volume we have. So they understand your needs. They understand the time constraints you may be operating in. We can turn certificates of currencies around within usually a couple of hours. If it's a new client to us, it may take us 12 hours at the most. So we are geared for that service. But more importantly, we're geared to provide the right cover at a very competitive price. If we have carried out at InterRisk a number of comparisons over the time, and if you buy an off-the-shelf tradesman package from the likes of GIO, AMP, etc., you will not have the same cover as you will automatically receive when you take the NECA Guard package. And it's very important. It's not just cost. It's more about the cover. Thank you for your time. And if you have any requests for information, please don't hesitate to contact us at any time. And we're there just to provide as much service as you require to help you in your business. If you have any questions, now's the time to let us know. Thanks very much for your attending.